afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon,
Trav.
sir.
Dr. Roy.
Here I am.
Doctor.
All right. Well, we took a week off, so thank you all for coming back this week. Maybe next Tuesday again, if we can all work it out in our schedules, is the only day that's going to work for me.
Yeah.
Right out of the gate here, Dr. Roy, last time we sat, he talked about an outbreak that was occurring in northwestern Kentucky, and he's got an update on that because it's not only was a thing, it's actually increased.
Yeah.
Right? Tell us a little about what's going on.
About a dozen, maybe a few more. It's Giardia is the name of the parasite. It's a single-celled parasite that lives in water. And now they have 66 confirmed cases in northwest Kentucky, Madisonville, Hopkins County, and
Over in the Muhlenberg, too, I think is what.
Muhlenberg.
Yep.
So, and they've traced it to a Mexican restaurant in the mall there. But Giardia is pretty much everywhere. Any water that is not chlorinated can have Giardia in it. You can't see them, you can't feel them. If you happen to get them on your skin and happen to like eat something without washing your hands, you're going to be exposed to it. And it only takes 8 of those to infect you. And you can't see them because they're, smaller than the head of a pin.
Single-celled, yeah.
Yeah, single-celled. And they swim, they reproduce greatly. I said, if you have one at the beginning of the day, you'll have 10,000 by the end of the day.
Wow.
So it goes pretty fast. The main symptoms are watery diarrhea and pain in the abdomen. Usually no blood associated with that, so you can distinguish that. There are some other things like salmonella that will cause bloody feces, but this is not. Anyway, they've got 66 cases in that area, enough to put out all sorts of warnings. I got one today from the Kentucky Medical Board telling us about that. They're easy to kill, but you've got to know that what you're giving people is going to kill it. You can't kill it with ivermectin like you can with worms. You mainly use Metronidazole, which is an easy to take antibiotic, as long as you don't drink alcohol while you're taking Metronidazole, because it kind of makes you even work sicker than you were if you take that. It cross-reacts with alcohol. So hear that, folks. No beer for 7 days.
Is there a specific test, like if you go in with those symptoms, how do you know that it's Giardia versus some other stomach bug? Or
there are some DNA tests that they can do on the feces to see if it's Giardia. I saw one today that had said they could test for 6 different one cells parasites like that, but you can test for DNA and it'll come out, or you can take a sample and put it under a microscope and see them swimming around. They look like they have eyes. Those pictures I showed you, those aren't my eyes. They're mitochondria in the cell. Think you can get those on there? There you go.
Yeah, so if for anyone listening, if you want to look at what one of these crazy looking bugs looks like, it looks like something that a kid would draw with funny eyes and a.
They look kind of sad and disheveled.
Yeah. But how interesting. I mean, how crazy and how cool is nature? There's something that it mass produces and recreates itself and comes out looking like that.
Yeah.
And it looks like something from Alien or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, they may have come from outer space.
Well, it doesn't even look real. I mean,
Yeah,
in reality.
but that's exactly how they look. And those things sticking out help them swim around, so they can move pretty quick. The beavers tend to have them in their gut most of the time, and they're not really hurt by it, but they poop in the water around there, so the water is tainted with Giardia. And I've treated a lot of cases of Giardia. We had one in California in an Air Force living area, and we had, 150 cases there, so we were passing out Metronidazole like it was candy.
So does it mostly or always come through unsanitized water?
Yeah.
I'm like, how would I'm trying to imagine how it got into it gets into a Mexican restaurant, whether they're using like well water or like how.
No, it's not necessarily well water. It can be any kind of water that's not that. But if you have lettuce that has been in bracked water,
not
like
proper,
that,
not properly cleaned lettuce that hasn't been treated with chlorinated water or whatever.
That's
cleaned properly.
It can happen. And also, people can carry it on their hands they'll survive outside the body for maybe a couple of hours.
So somebody could have had Giardia that worked in the restaurant, didn't properly wash their hands, touched lettuce or touched whatever it is.
Touched lettuce, touched whatever. And
I would think if it was meat or something that was cooked, it would kill the parasite.
Yeah. Heat'll kill them, but it's stuff like lettuce and
cheese or whatever.
Anything that you handle with your hands.
Well, I'm not going to blast the restaurant. I heard that they closed down for a period of time. I think I looked at Grok. They said they'd retrain their staff, and I checked all the refrigeration and everything.
Yeah.
So I would imagine if they've reopened, that the health department's going to be all over them for a little while.
Oh yeah.
So they're gonna have to be jumping through all kinds of hoops just to keep their doors open.
You got it.
So okay. So just sort of like, I know a lot of stomach bugs, for instance. I never have been treated for.
Yeah.
If you get diarrhea or whatever, just go away. Is this one of those that just goes away, or will it keep going?
It generally gets to the point where you seek medical assistance.
Because you could get dehydrated or whatever.
You get dehydrated, or you just can't get rid of it.
So this probably would have been like back in the day prior to these medications or whatever, diarrhea used to kill a significant amount of people.
Sure.
So if we didn't have a treatment for Giardia, or they didn't know that's what it was, then that's how people died back in the day.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, interesting. And you mentioned a lot of people hear about cruise ships and the stuff that goes around on those. How is that similar or different from this?
Usually the one on cruise ships is Norovirus, and it is far easier to spread than Giardia is. And if you get one person that sneezes close to the food on your tray, it'll go everywhere, and it's terrible. That's vomiting and diarrhea, and it usually out climbs the toilet system in the cruise ships. They've had as many as 1,000 people on a cruise ship get sick with it within 24 hours, because it stays in water, but it'll also stay in drops of water if you sneeze or cough or don't wash your hands or anything like that. And that one will go away by itself within a couple of days. But in that couple of days, you're going to get mighty dehydrated if you're not working on it. There's not a specific medicine that you can give for norovirus.
So that is something you just have to wait out?
You just have to wait it out and keep hydrated and that sort of thing.
How long does it normally last?
3 to 4 days.
Okay.
But, if you're on a cruise ship and huddled all together, you're going to overflow the toilets in a matter of a couple of hours.
Doesn't sound pleasant at all.
No, not at all. Not at all. So that's the thing is that these, it's not like worms where you can actually see them. They're microscopic, and they can cause a lot of problems. And actually, diarrhea in third year world companies or countries is really bad. And there are some really good. Now, here in the United States, if a child gets sick with diarrhea, you bring them into the hospital and they give them intravenous stuff. You can treat that at home very easily, and you basically put honey and orange juice and salt in three different glasses, and mixed with water that's been boiled, and take that down, and it'll keep you going pretty well. I did that with myself when I got sick about 6 months ago or so. But finally, after a week of doing that, and I was still having diarrhea, I gave up. I'm sorry, that's my foot.
Is that you? Okay, I didn't
Yeah.
know. There was some weird noise.
No, it was my foot. But I finally gave up and got some antibiotics and took that, and it'll knock it out in about 3 days.
Cool.
So there you go. That's my parasitology of the day.
All right. So next time, if we meet again next week, hopefully we hear no new cases of Giardia have happened. And
but if you go in a water like a lake or a river or something like that has beavers in it, and you may not see the beavers, they may be 8 miles upstream from you.
I hate not seeing the beaver.
Yeah, not that kind of beaver.
I knew Travis was getting up doing technical stuff, but I knew he was wanting to talk about that. He wanted to say something about the beaver.
Yeah, but
we'll have a beaver. We'll have a beaver on the wall next time we sit down.
Is it Justin Bieber or what?
Have you seen pictures of him, Justin Bieber? He looks like he's dead.
Really?
Yeah, he's all.
It's really Bieber, but I call him Beaver.
Bieber.
Bieber. Oh, you said Bieber. I heard Beaver.
Well, he
Got Beaver on the brain now.
Yeah.
he came out during this whole Diddy. Who knows what's going on with him, because he was in the middle of all the Diddy Epstein stuff. So
just a little side note, real quick, because we didn't talk about it before the show, but did you guys know that the Prince of Darkness passed away this morning?
Yeah, I did. It's horrible.
Yeah.
It's been all over.
We just hadn't talked.
radio.
For those who don't know, the Prince of Darkness is Sir Ozzy Osbourne of the Black Sabbath.
And they just fixed. They just had a big.
Yeah, back in February, he went on stage. They had to kind of.
They had one like 3 or 4 weeks ago.
Yeah, he just performed.
Well, maybe that was the one. Oh, I don't. Yeah, but he performed for his hometown. Was that one?
Yeah.
Is that
No.
recent?
This one was at like big deal in Great Britain.
Yeah, so if you're not a big follower of Ozzy, and I was a metalhead myself, and so
I'm still a metalhead.
Black Sabbath and Ozzy were in my repertoire, and he's one of those guys that I would have expected would have been dead by now. Quite honestly,
Oh, yeah.
the way he lived.
Sharon, if he hadn't met Sharon, he probably would be.
Yeah. I mean, if you ever, I remember the movie. Was it called The Dirt? It's basically a show about Motley Crue.
Oh, yeah, The Dirt.
And Ozzy Osbourne was in there, and it showed actual stuff that he did, because
he bit the head off a bat.
Yeah,
But he didn't know that it was a real bat. There's
Yeah.
a whole story behind that. He thought that it was a prop. And he thought that he had no idea that he was really biting into
But it was a real bat.
Yeah,
and
it was.
It's a wonder he didn't get rabies.
yeah,
'Cause
Yeah.
bats are big for rabies.
yeah. He did a lot of other stuff that I will not mention on this program.
things. Yeah.
Man.
But and be cautious if you decide to watch the movie The Dirt, because it is very.
Well,
I don't know if R-rated
I'll have
it.
to go home and pull it up.
I don't know if R-rated is strong enough for it. It is a very raunchy show. I really enjoyed it.
I also didn't realize a lot of that either about the crew.
Oh yeah, they were crazy.
They made something like that for Rush. It'd be too boring. They'd just be sitting around smoking pot, writing super deep lyrics. Is all the Rushes would be. So, but anyway, but yeah, I hadn't. I was kind of doing something here. And
Go to the bake sale at the Syrinx
at the Temple of Syrinx.
Temple of Syrinx.
Yeah, he just.
Well, they get their mead from the Fountain of Lemneth. So no, that's another Rush song. But
Today is July 22nd, is it not?
it is correct.
Yeah, I didn't put it on the board. So for anyone listening, it's obviously Ozzy would have died a couple days ago if he didn't get this on the day we released it.
Yeah.
But so
he should have been dead 10 years
oh yeah,
ago.
I mean he
had got Parkinson's in 2003, I think is when he was diagnosed.
I think they have been treating that very well, kind of.
Yeah, the thing about Parkinson's is that it gets to the point where you can't swallow, and
it didn't sound like that would have been him though, because he again was just singing.
And he couldn't walk. He lost his he couldn't walk anymore, but he could sing. Yeah, in the concert that you were talking about, he was they made like this this awesome like king's chair throne thing on wheels, and he came up pneumatically out of the floor, and then they rolled him like up on stage and stuff. It was pretty cool.
I wonder if they had like a assist in the lyrics of like helping him sing through some things, or if it was him.
They played something on the way over, and it sounded like he was okay.
Because it was more of like a tribute. There was all kinds of bands playing. It was like a.
I'll tell you this:
festival.
I had 2 classmates from medical school that died young from Parkinson's. Younger anyway. They died about 10 years before now, and so that would have made them in their early 60s. And they were both really nice guys. I'll tell you one thing: there's a thought in medicine that nice people get bad diseases. And it really is, because we used to get guys in at the VA and we'd work them up and they'd be really nice guys, and then we'd get a chest x-ray and they had a big chest tumor in there. And we just said, nice guys get bad diseases.
And per the Day of the Green, they also finished last.
Yeah.
Green Day? No? Okay.
Well, I'm sorry. I was reading.
Yeah, you're just,
I got into Grok to see they have not released a cause of death yet.
I assume it's the Parkinson's. I mean,
that's the thing. I've got an elderly patient right now who has Parkinson's, and he can't swallow, and he's in hospice right now, so any day now.
Wow. That is very... Sorry, excuse me.
Can you swallow?
Yeah.
Are you okay?
Barely.
You okay?
Man, I was having sympathetic
sympathy cough.
Yeah, so a little bit of a pivot. So I asked Roy and Travis to kind of bring something they wanted to talk about today, and I'm not going to pivot right into Travis yet. One of the things I wanted to talk about this week is usually with Dr. Roy, we talk about different things, a lot of different topics, but mostly having to do with medical and the stuff that's happened since COVID hit and the things we've identified since COVID hit with the troubles in the medical field and all of the different
big pharma,
FDA, big pharma. We've been really trying to dig into all of that really heavily. And the kind of the general thesis of the podcast for me was tyranny. And at one point I thought I had like 7 different things that I felt like would be something that tyranny could seep in. And when I say tyranny, it's basically a system or a government or an individual that can become tyrannical on an individual or a group of people. And one of the things one of the I guess axioms that we have found throughout this thing is the trust the science people were some of the first people that came out of the woodwork. Whenever we're talking about ivermectin, we were talking about where COVID came from, lab leak versus natural.
Yeah.
And every time somebody that would speak out against the narrative would say something counter to the narrative, they would call you anti-science.
Sure.
And the thing that they always say that on is trust the science. And so I want to just make sure that we continue talking about the importance of when you hear things like that basically they're people just trying to silence you and have power over you, and they're trying to be an authority and like just sit down and shut up. I'm going to tell you how it's going to be. Well, we've dealt with something very similar in the climate side of things, and if you have a conversation about what climate change is or climate, whatever's happened with the different. Are we going to die from it getting too cold? Are we going to die from it getting too hot? Are we going to die because we're going to get flooding or hurricanes? I mean, everything is catastrophizing, and we've gotten really fixated on controlling carbon. And so one of the clips that I'm going to share right out of the gate here, and actually there's 3 different things I think we could get into, but Brett and Heather are talking about something that is just crazy. And why I think it's crazy is, first of all, no one is really talking about it. And we're going to talk a little bit about what our media does and what it doesn't do today, because we're going to talk about NPR and our local NPR affiliates and the importance of the news that they bring, or in many cases, the news and the topics that they don't bring that are some of the most important. Yeah. And so this is one of the topics to me that I don't know if it's purposefully kept in the dark or purposefully kept out of the conversation or purposefully just told you're not smart enough. You just need to trust the people that have the jackets on that are doing the climate science, and you just need to sit back and be quiet. That's what I feel we're getting, that same thing, that pattern that happened. And why COVID was so bad.
Yeah, and COVID,
So it's something that I think is just something when you spot it, you have to talk about it, and you have to understand what they're trying to do. And this particular instance of what's going on is, to me, pretty terrifying. And I don't say that mildly. I say it out of real fear, because it's something that I feel our kids are going to have to deal with forever forward, because they're going to be lied to, they're going to be manipulated, they're going to be told what they need to believe versus what might actually be true. And this story is right there with it. I don't know if I've got volume on. It doesn't look like I have volume. Did you turn it off on me purposefully, Travis?
Nope. Don't blame me.
Oh, here we go.
Or is it?
Not fully.
I don't know.
Not fully. So I wanted to respond and recast something that has been widely discussed today as a result of the revelation. You want to put up that? Here it is. This is the Telegraph's version of the article. It says, experiments to dim the sun will be approved within weeks. Scientists consider brightening clouds to reflect sunshine among ways to prevent runaway climate change. Okay. Now,
brought to you by the experts.
Brought to you by the experts, who...
the elite.
...are convinced that there is a problem that can be addressed productively, must be addressed. We are, I'll speak for myself, I have a feeling you agree with me, ever less convinced that the global warming catastrophe is what it appears to be.
There's something going on for sure.
There's something going on, but there's always something going on. Climate is a highly dynamic thing. Many of you will have seen discussion that I had with Ben Davidson about things that seem to be changing throughout our solar system as a result of our position in the galaxy. There are many things happening. The scientific elite have become quite convinced, and in fact, Tyler Cowen in his article argues that it is a major testament to how wonderful the elites are, that we've been so successful at persuading the public that we have to all alter the way we live in order to address anthropogenic climate change. So, in any case, the idea that it is tolerable for anybody to decide that it is their right to alter the level of incoming sunlight with aerosolized stuff is shocking.
I'm utterly shocked.
And I'm not saying that they haven't been doing it. My guess is they've been experimenting with these technologies for quite some time.
Yep.
No, I'm not a believer that every contrail that lasts in the sky is a chemtrail. In fact, I can't say that I've ever seen a contrail that I'm sure wasn't a contrail.
Yeah.
But do I think people have been experimenting with these technologies? Yes, I strongly suspect that they have. They have absolutely no right to do it. And I will point out at least one reason that I never hear mentioned that I think should be mentioned, which is informed consent. And
All right, so I'm going to break this down into several clips. This topic has been, I don't know if both of you have heard people talking about chemtrails and contrails, and there's several states that have outlawed them based on, and what a chemtrail is basically, whether you call it a conspiracy or not, there are actually chemtrails. I'm not saying that who is saying to do it when or where, but basically it's stuff that's either in jet fuel or stuff that's attached to planes that can spray chemicals into the air. And there's been a gentleman who is ahead of one of these companies who's been interviewed by several podcasters with much bigger followings than what we have. Sean Ryan, I think, did one. Joe Rogan might have did one. I think it might have been the same guy. But they are absolutely experimenting with these things. So they're basically doing what they're called cloud seeding, which means trying to create rain where there's not that much rain.
I saw the Ryan podcast with this guy.
Yeah, Sean Ryan.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, and it's an interesting science. But, to me, I'm kind of one of those people that thinks if you mess with Mother Nature is always going to figure out a way to outsmart you or do things that you wouldn't expect. I don't think we can play God with this one, whether you want to call God or not, or you want to call it nature. I think whatever you do in one area of the country is going to have different. It's going to affect other areas.
Kind of
butterfly effect. And so, what he's getting ready to talk about, though, is the informed consent side of things, Dr. Roy. And this is something that kind of is a carryover from the COVID piece of things, where they were telling us that the vaccines were safe and effective, when in fact there's no way. No vaccine is necessarily safe. There's side effects in every single one, and we could argue how much side effects there are and who it affects more than others or whatever. But as young as the technology was that the COVID vaccines were built on, there's no way that they could know that it was safe. And we found out that they were not effective.
Yeah.
So informed consent basically is your doctor and public health is supposed to give you the information that you need to know for yourself to make an informed decision. That's what informed consent is, isn't it? Okay. So basically, effectively, what we have are climate scientists and governments who are, without talking about, having a robust conversation with public about what they're going to put into the atmosphere and what effects that might have, what's coming down from the clouds, or the butterfly effect that Travis pointed out, how that might affect neighboring countries, or you think about a nuclear facility in Japan that melts down, and that affects the entire ocean, and it affects the West Coast, and maybe even the entire globe. We need to talk about those things and how they affect things. So I'll get right back into the clip, and then I'm gonna get what either Dr. Roy or Travis have to say about it.
I will remind our viewers that informed consent is a principle that was deemed so self-evident and important that the Allies literally hanged 7 doctors at the end of World War II for violating the informed consent of their patients. Now, if you're injecting stuff into the atmosphere for the purpose of dimming out the sun, and in this case, there are 2 technologies being discussed. There's the dimming of the sun by basically putting particulates into the atmosphere itself, and then there's cloud brightening, which makes the clouds lighter, which
reflects more of the sunlight is the idea.
Albedo. You don't have any right to do it, because the fact is you're effectively inflicting those materials on the public. Now, it may be that there's an interesting term in the description of this experiment that they're brightening marine clouds. So there may be the argument that this isn't going to be affecting the terrestrial population. The marine clouds. I'm just anticipating what's going to be said. You don't have a right to do it. Let's put it that way. Now, to their credit, and I'm not going to give them very much credit here because I think they are diabolical maniacs, but to their credit, they have agreed that it is their obligation to minimize the toxicity of what they use. So I see no evidence that they are using heavy metals in this case, though I won't be surprised if they're...
They also claim reversibility.
Right.
But really, you're sure about, like,
Well,
you don't get to do it in the first place, and your claims of reversibility, which is exactly the right claim that you need to be making, but why should we trust you? Like, on what basis are you certain that this is reversible? It's never been done before. Oh, well, you can't ever do anything until you've done it once. Like,
and it's
So, coming right back to this, Dr. Roy, you can't unwind a clock.
No.
And once you release something, a virus or this particular science, and then you release whatever your response to that is, in this case, the vaccine that was pushed around the world, you can't bring that back.
No.
And so to me, this is, again, I don't want to just say frightening to have a fear thing. This isn't about clickbait and whatever. But to me, again, they're trying to manipulate weather, much like they try to manipulate science in COVID. And how close and relative does this sound to you as far as a pattern? Because, like, for me, everything's pattern recognition.
It's dead on. And it's, if they're lying to us about vaccines, then they will lie to us about anything else. And, the United States wanted to see what would happen with nuclear fallout in the United States. So they took a little-known bacterium that was supposedly harmless and let it go all over Northern California just to see where the winds would take it and all the other things. What turns out, the reason they used that particular bacteria was that if you grew it in a petri dish, it was bright red. And they did this back in the 50s multiple times. They would drop this bacteria, and then they would have petri dishes in various places. And as soon as the bacteria started to reproduce, it would turn red, and you could see that. Well, it turns out that this particular bacterium, which we thought was just something that happened in water and, it's safe, everything. Well, it doesn't. We had people in the 1970s who came in with heart infections from this specific bacterium in Alabama. And it had only been dropped on the West Coast. But in 10, 15 years, it got all the way across the country. And we had people coming in with endocarditis, which is an infection of the inside of the heart by this thing. And it was horrible. I mean, you'd see these people, they were coughing stuff up, and it was bright red, but it wasn't blood. It was this bacteria that they were coughing up. So it was Serratia is the name of the bacteria.
Did you have, Travis? Did you have something? You looked like you were going to say something, and then
it was more. It was more about this dimming technology or whatever they're wanting to do. But I mean, I see some holes to poke in it already. But I mean, I don't know if you may wait till the end or what we want to have
holes
discussion.
To poke in our position or just general?
No, just in. Well, so like, won't this diminish the efficacy of solar energy? Like, won't it diminish that this
sure.
renewable energy that we're all wanting to use? Won't it also? I mean, couldn't it also cause? Like, it's going to, the particulates are going to fall, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Could get into the groundwater, could get into animal life, whatever. We end up eating it. Could it not?
Food.
Well, kind of. It actually piggybacks off exactly what you just said, Doc. About, I mean, this could have very harmful effects that that nobody knows about. I'm sure nobody's testing what the elongated effects are, like ingestion.
No robust debate. They're not telling us these are the exact chemicals that are in this thing, and wherever they're dropping it,
they're all safe.
Yeah, wherever they're dropping it, that there's spillover into other countries. Is that a coastal region? Will that spill into the ocean or carry in a cloud, like you said, miles and miles, and then end up on one of our coasts?
Yeah. What if it kills all the seafood that's out there?
Well, I mean, it's
all the oysters and the shrimp and everything.
Or just one thing that causes the whole ecosystem to just fall.
Yeah.
Well, the other thing that we talk about a lot, and me and Dr. Roy are wearing our orange glasses or blue light blockers. We're focused on mitochondrial health, and we're one of the things we've talked about very regularly is very terrible vitamin D levels that we have. At least in America, I don't know vitamin D levels across the globe how they are related to us. But if you're dimming the sun and you're blocking out the rays that are beneficial to creating vitamin D in our bodies, that is yet another thing that's it's like the anti-Maha.
It's like you brought up that whole sun thing with the vitamin D and whatnot, and it just made me chuckle because when was that, Thursday, Friday? You posted something about with the dude with the sunburnt, like with the red neck, but the man, she was going off about you to me. I'm like, I have no control over it. She's like, that's BS. She thinks there's no like priming tan, there's no like preemptive tanning, there's no, the sun can does create cancer and everything, and so she was on that whole thing.
Who was talking about that?
Well, you posted something with that picture of that guy who had his shirt off in it from like the neck up.
Let me see if I can find that.
Well, anyway,
who's she? Who are you talking about?
My lovely wife.
Oh, okay. I didn't.
She was like, she said, "Your buddy Chad." I'm like, well, what do you do now?
Oh yeah.
And she showed me the post. I'm like, well, I mean, there is some to that where vitamin D. We are all vitamin D deficient. Doc has talked about how he tested. But I kind of went through our bullet points a little bit, and she said, yeah, but he's just throwing it caution to the wind. He's just saying that everybody should be out in the sun. I said, well, no. If you listen to our podcast, we've talked about if you took a bunch of Irish people and threw them in Australia and they didn't do anything, they just sat out in the sun. I mean, they would cook. There would be problems with that. So, but your post, I'll show your monitor here.
That's one of the things that we've never gotten Dr. Cruz to back off on. He says everybody ought to be out in the sun all the time and it doesn't give you cancer. Explain Australia. They have the highest rate of
melanoma.
Melanoma, yeah. I kept wanting to say something other.
Some other noma?
Yeah, some other noma. Melanoma.
But yeah, so here's the
highest rate in the world.
Why Australia?
Australia.
I might put that into Super Grok here in just a minute and see what it spits back out of me.
So here's the post. It says one area of his body has been consistently concealed and the other has
Did you pull it up?
consistently exposed to direct sunlight. He just turned 81. I noticed this during a run we went on today. So
here's several things that's great feedback. Yes, I do believe we are, as a society, very much, we need to be in the sun every day. I'm not saying we need to be in the sun all day, every day. I'm not saying, and for some people that wouldn't work first and foremost. But secondly, if we're talking about, there's several different things going on here. First of all, there is a lot of evidence showing that people that work out in the sun very regularly do not have near the amount of skin cancer and other forms of cancer as normal people do. This evidence, what you see here, to me, is you've got a bunch of sunspots on, and I'm sure, Dr. Roy, you probably saw this, but you got a bunch of sunspots and other skin issues going on with this guy. First of all, I want to put some Durmectin on a bunch of those spots. But to me, I don't know how you can look at this and not automatically be wondering why up here you don't have all that stuff going on, because that's exposed to the sun a lot. And so it's okay to have pushback. It's okay to not agree, and it's okay to think I'm a wackadoodle when it comes to getting out in the sun. What it's not okay with is not being able to explain why that dude's skin looks like that.
It wasn't the wackadoodle about the sun. It was the somehow she took from this, and I don't know if you posted a comment or something afterwards or something.
Let me look. Take my screen off.
I did.
Okay.
But her whole side of it was somehow she inferred that you were saying that everybody needs to be out in the sun all the time and it won't hurt you, or something to that effect.
No, I will say it's my belief is everyone should be out in the sun, get out in the sun every day, especially in the morning,
like dusk or dawn,
when
it's higher, when it's not high in the sky,
and
when it's
bask in the sun, and it is about being out in the sun every day, including in the winter. Like Dr. Roy walking every day without sunscreen on. He's building up. He's got a base level of sun.
Oh, the sunscreen thing, I think, was the other thing she was complaining.
Oh, yeah.
But
sunscreen is horrible.
Them being, well, no. She believes in it because her and my daughter are both transparent, pale redheads. Yeah. So my daughter can kind of get a bit of a color. She can kind of tan because of me, but my wife just burns. It's either white or burn.
Yep.
And then get over the burn and then white.
Yep.
And so it's that whole, there was some pushback there too.
Again,
so.
I'm not a doctor. I'm not telling Irish pasty redhead to go out in the sunshine and baste all day. I'm
with no sunscreen.
All I'm saying is when I look at things like that, I
get it.
I need science to tell me why it looks like that, and give me some real good feedback.
But you brought it up. We were heading to the Savannah Bananas game, and I forgot to text you or anything. So you brought it up. I just wanted to bring it up and like kind of. There was a lot of pushback there with and she's a skincare, she was a skincare, licensed skincare consultant or some crap. I don't know. She worked for Sephora for years and years and went to their.
He didn't mean.
Well, no, I don't know. I don't know what it, but she's big into the skincare, and she was a fragrance special. I don't know.
Dr. Roy would have called her woo woo or something.
But anyway, well, no, she can smell the notes. She can tell you there's lavender or whatever. She could pick apart notes of fragrances, but then she also all the skincare stuff. So she was just on the complete opposite side of you. Not entirely, because I even said, everybody's vitamin D deficient. She's like, yeah, okay, well, I'm like, okay, well, everybody's, I'm in my office behind my computer screen all day long. I open my blinds and get a little sun in, but in the mornings or evenings, I try to get more sun if I can. So, I'm sure I'm vitamin D deficient. I take a couple pills a day to try to help with that.
That's why you should take
the firm reality of it is people with the worst outcomes during COVID, the people that died more frequently had the lowest levels of vitamin D.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts around that. And I personally believe the best form of vitamin D is to get it naturally from the sun. Dr. Roy talks about the supplements. I think, yes, you can do supplements. I don't think it's as good as the sun. I don't personally, I listen to a lot of people that don't think supplements are good, but I'm not here to say that I know the answer. Mm-hmm. I'm here, our think tank concept is, I want to hear input. I want to see data. I want to see data over time. Mm-hmm. There should be a test group that just do vitamin D, that sit inside most of the day and take the vitamin D supplements, versus people that spend a little bit of time outside in the morning and the afternoon, versus people that spend all day out in the sun, and we should test those accordingly and see where we're at.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I love the feedback, and I'm going to dig into this even more if we can get to the next part. So, I don't know where I want to go with that, because we were, the principle from what they're talking about with the sun blocking is your first principles goes back to what the oath you sign when you became a doctor. Do no harm first. And I think what this tyranny window comes back around to me every time, it's, I'm focusing on human flourishing and human health first, and many of these people, the people that are trying to mess with the climate, are thinking about the earth first, and they don't think about the fallout that comes from the downstream of pumping things into the air, or blocking the sunlight, or what that means to vitamin D, or drinking water, or fish in the ocean, or any of that. So,
I'll just drink milk. There's not enough vitamin D in milk to do any good at all. None. And they say, it's good.
So I'm going to
fortified.
I think. Oh, did I get rid of the clip? Oh man,
what did you do, Richard?
I don't know if I can get back to the same spot we were, because I thought this had a timing on it, but for whatever reason, maybe on the phone it does, but not here, and it's going to start over. Usually there's a place where you can fast forward to it, and it's not showing this on the desktop. So I guess I'll just have to shelve that clip for now. Travis, why don't you lead us into the next thing that you wanted to talk about? I'm going to, in the meantime, folks, I'm going to let you know I'd posted something on Facebook, friends of mine on Facebook. I basically have a subscription for the highest level of
Grokkination
AI that's available for normal citizens, and this is a very expensive subscription. So what I offered to do for people on Facebook was, send me deep questions that you want to test out what Grok has to say. And this particular Grok it's Grok 4, but it's Super Grok, and it's called Heavy. And again, I'm not going to tell you how much it costs per month, because it's embarrassing. But
it's heavy.
It's painful. But I already feel, to me, it is. It's interesting to me to watch how much further and better it goes, how much deeper it goes. And the reason why I think this is relevant to the speed of AI right now is, I think personally, the people that it's not going to be AI that takes over all of our jobs or whatever. It's the people that use AI and how they use AI. So for me, if you've got a little bit of an edge and you can ask more in-depth questions to get better answers, to me, it's kind of an investment. I would consider it like a tuition per month is what I'm kind of thinking about it as.
Yeah, that's what it is, a tuition.
Yeah, so
you can send your kid to the U of E for that kind of money.
No, it's not
that bad.
That's like 1 hour of UE, I think, is what that equates to.
One credit
So
hour
I'll
or
just say
whatever.
it's $300 a month as a subscription, and there's no limit to how many questions that you can ask, but it is slower. So what they have equated this particular level of grok is if you take the most intelligent person on in any topic, this thing is already much smarter and much faster, and it can pile different PhDs on top into like one think tank. It can have the smartest person on all topics in one answer. So that's where we're at. Anyway, I wanted to kind of give that, but I'm going to ask the question to Super Grok about Dr. Jack Cruz, because I think he's written on that before, that particular thing. I'm going to see what it can find. Travis, lead us into the next story, and then I'll circle back around to this later.
Well, it's funny you brought up a couple things there that I am going to talk about. One being, of course, AI, and kind of where the jobs go from that. But a little earlier, you mentioned that you were talking about WNIN or PBS or something of that nature.
Yeah.
And the problem wasn't necessarily what they were talking about; it's what they weren't talking about. So one of the things that this all kind of does tie together, but one of the things that is crazy that nobody's talking about. So not just the NPR or the PBS, but there was a really big summit in Pittsburgh like a week ago, and it was the Energy and Artificial Intelligence Summit, and there were the top people of all fields. The president was there. Mike Rowe was there, which is one person I'm going to kind of talk about a little bit. I mean, it was a really big deal. They pledged a bunch of money. I don't remember the amount of money. Let's see, $90 billion in energy and AI investments for the state of Pennsylvania. So I guess the senators kind of made all this happen. Well, mostly. I can't think of the senator there.
In which state?
Pennsylvania.
Oh, yeah, I don't remember.
The Democrat's that really, really tall, bald guy.
Yeah.
But he was there, but he wasn't the one who kind of put this together. It was the Republican senator for the state. Okay. But anyway, I can't think of his name. I apologize. But so there was this big summit there, and there's no talk about it at all, which is crazy. But Mike Rowe was on there. Well, there were a lot of people on there, but Mike Rowe was on there, and he talked a little bit about AI and about the trades. One thing that he said there that he said numerous times is that, just while he was there, one thing that he said has kind of memed up a little bit, but he said that AI is going to come. We've told kids to learn to code, that for the past however many years, and it said AI is not coming for the electricians. AI is coming for the coders is what he said, or something. I kind of summarized it there. Mm-hmm. But one thing that he brought up, some of the numbers that he kind of talked about a little bit, is that 7.6, there are currently, right now, 7.6 million jobs available. Now, that's in all industries, but...
Just in America?
Just in America.
Okay.
And one thing that he talked about was even back when Obama was president, I can't remember what year, but he had some initiative to have like 1 million... what do you call it? Shovel-ready jobs or something of that nature. It was a very manual labor type initiative, and the problem is that people today don't really want to do manual labor, or a lot. I don't want to say all. I'm not going to pigeonhole everybody by any means, but of those, 7.6 million jobs are currently available now. Some people may not qualify for them or whatever, but he says most of them, he didn't actually say the number, but he said most of those are trade positions, because a lot of people over the course of the past, 20 years probably, have been sort of told as high school students or whatever, you're supposed to go to college. If you go to college, borrow a butt ton of money, go to college. Be in a massive amount of debt.
It's frowned upon.
Go to college.
If your kid graduates from high school and gets into trades,
it is. You're
kind of frowned upon. You're like, they didn't go to college.
Yeah. So unfortunately, and there are
a societal thing.
And there are some, like we used to have like trade class, shop class, a couple of things.
Those are my favorite classes.
Those are gone.
Yeah.
Pretty much. I don't think anybody does any of those anymore.
Woodworking, home ec. Yep.
So he talked about most of those 7.6 million jobs are in the trades. He said 482,000 of those are just in manufacturing, and those manufacturing jobs average about $100,000 a year. Now, he did kind of have a caveat there that automation is kind of making a step into the manufacturing world and will probably reduce those numbers. But I mean, you know, go out here to Toyota, you probably make 100,000. Now you have to work some overtime, but you could probably do it.
But now you don't get taxed on your overtime.
Correct. Yeah, right. You don't get taxed on your overtime. Well, you actually do get taxed. What you do is you get more on the back end when you go to file your taxes. You get more tax deductions. But the overtime and the tips, I believe, actually are still taxed. But you're able to claim a lot more on the back end when it comes to filing for your taxes. But anyway,
I won't question you on that because I haven't researched.
I need to look. I read something, but it was kind of back and forth. So one of the things he said is that we need to not look down on the trades. If your child wants to be an electrician or a plumber, to celebrate it, not to not to have them start their adult life in over $100,000 in debt due to college loans if they can't pay for them up front. And something that he didn't really talk about much. He plugged it a little bit, but he's got a website called microworks.org. And they were founded in 2008. I did a little bit of research on it. They granted over $8.7 million in work ethic scholarships. And that was to over 1,800 people in over 19 skilled trades. And these were just scholarships to go to trade school and he was trying to kind of bring the trades back. Let's see, I had that up here. So I kind of hate to just kind of read from a website, but I have a little bit here that I want to talk about with this. And one other thing he said is, they're coming after, more of the digital working class, or especially the lower white collar jobs, like the intro white collar jobs. But something he said was, America's become slowly but undeniably disconnected from the most fundamental elements of civilization: food, energy, education, and the very nature of work itself. Over the last 30 years, America has convinced itself that the best path for the most people is an expensive 4-year degree. Pop culture has glorified the corner office job while unintentionally belittling the job that helped build that corner office. As a result, our society has devalued any other path to success and happiness. Community colleges, trade schools, and apprenticeship programs are labeled as alternative. Millions of well-intended parents and guidance counselors see apprenticeships and on-the-job training opportunities as vocational consolation prizes, best suited for those not cut out for the brass ring, a 4-year degree. The push for higher education has coincided with the removal of vocational arts from high schools nationwide, like I was saying. And the effects of this 1-2 punch have laid the foundation for a widening skills gap and a massive student loan debt. If you go back to look at a lot of the debt that the Department of Education has, is that student loan debt. The Pell Grants and those kind of things, that's all debt that I actually have some numbers about that too, where it talks about how much money is currently owed to the Department of Education, to the government, of these that students aren't paying. Some are paying, but a lot of this debt is not being paid. He says, today the skill gap is wider than ever and than it's ever been. The cost of college tuition has soared faster than the cost of food, energy, real estate, and healthcare. Student loan debt is the second highest consumer debt category in the United States, with more than 45 million borrowers who collectively owe more than $1.7 trillion. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, like I said, there are more than 7.6 million jobs available across the country, the majority of which do not require a 4-year degree. And still we talk about millions of shovel-ready jobs for a society that doesn't encourage people to pick up a shovel. We keep lending money we don't have to people who can't pay it back for jobs that don't exist. Bit by bit, our culture reaffirms this misguided belief that a career in the skilled trades should be desired, and the lack of enthusiasm has reshaped our expectations of a good job into something that no longer resembles work. So that was, I know it was a little long-winded. I apologize. But a lot of that boils down to we've got a deficit. He said at this summit in Pittsburgh that another billionaire, Fisk, I can't think of his first name, mentioned that by 2030, we're going to have 500,000. We're going to have the need for 500,000 electricians that we're not going to have if we don't change something really quick. He talked in that conference that they had. He talked about how we're not going to have enough welders to work in the shipyards to build our to build our submarines, to build our ships. I mean, we're going to need those tradesmen to do that, and we're not going to have them available. So I guess kind of my whole take was that, trades aren't this I don't know, this terrible thing. If your kid comes to you and says that they want to be an electrician, it's not like, oh my God, where have I failed as a parent? I would celebrate. My daughter's only 7, but I told her, we've talked about college a little bit and what it is, because her school is right next to U of E actually, and we've talked about what that is. And I said, but if you ever come to me and you decide that that's not for you and you want to go into a trade, you want to do something, I'm going to completely support you. And to a 7-year-old, you don't say it in a way that you would to like you and I. I'll just say, yeah, Dad will be happy if
Dad, can I get a shovel-ready job?
Yeah, she didn't say that, but I don't think it's anything to be frowned upon. And I mean,
absolutely not.
You're a doctor. You went to school for that. Yeah. Chad, I'm not sure. I think you went to school for communication.
I have an education degree.
Our education degree. That's what it is. I went to school for kind of digital computer science, related field. And I mean,
they didn't have that when I went to school.
Yeah.
I didn't get an email address until after I graduated from college.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
And the crazy thing is we're not too far apart. We're like 9 years apart or something.
Yeah, so 1996, 95 and a half is when I graduated. And
High school?
I met college.
Oh, college.
And I graduated. We didn't do anything.
We
didn't
were
do anything on computers.
Almost exactly 10 years apart.
I met my wife in 97, and I got an email address so I could communicate with her after I met her, because she didn't live where I lived.
I think I got my first email address probably around that time. 97.
Yeah, so I mean, it all heaped like, why do you need that? Well, it turned into one of those things. Well, you kind of had one, and you didn't know. Okay, well, you got to take this thing, and then you got to get into AOL or whatever.
Yeah.
I mean, it was like all the noises.
Get into a client. Yeah.
Anyway, get back to your topic. I firmly.
I think
agree with you.
Yeah, and AI. I think eventually, it may take 50 years, but I think eventually we'll probably have robotics. We'll have androids that will have the dexterity to do the electrical, to do the plumbing, to do those kind of things. But it's going to take a long time for them to be able to do that reliably. Mm-hmm. But digital work, I even work on an AI program that my company is, kind of revamping and going to be putting out. And I can get it to do pretty much anything you can do on a computer. If you can do it on a computer, even if it takes a username and password, an authentication token, 2FA, whatever, I can actually program this thing to do it, or it can do it. I kind of create a workflow.
Or now you're doing it.
Well, right. But I'm just saying, if it can be done on a computer, it can be done with even our AI tool. And it's nowhere near as robust as, say, Grok. And if you put Grok into, one of the Tesla androids, and then that gets better and better, or that AI, this gets real deep real quick, because if that AI starts to take over the R&D on creating a better android, then it's going to take no time. It's going to ramp up, very quickly to where, in like 10 years, it may be possible. It's really hard to tell, but once an AI starts doing R&D, or an AI starts actually trying to create a physical product or item, I almost said a physical manifestation of itself, but this thing, then who knows where we're going to be. I was watching a podcast, and I can't remember who it was, but he said the podcast was probably 20, and he said, your grandchild, he said, I'm a firm believer that your grandchild will probably marry an androided AI person over an actual like an android, an AI in an android that is so good, and you can't even tell the difference really. So in what, probably
now you went dark
50, 60 years.
That's societal collapse.
Yeah, it can be.
It is, because you're not having babies anymore.
Android he marries, it can't have babies.
Yeah.
Well, then we start to probably grow them at that point.
Well, I strongly recommend. I was listening to. I don't think I pulled a clip for today, but Tucker Carlson and had interviewed Charlie Kirk. And they're talking about basically a lot.
Charlie Kirk is who had Mike Rowe. That's where I got some of this data. Yeah.
So a lot of his thing is he travels around. I forgot how many hours he spends on college campuses every quarter, but it's a lot. Like 400 hours or something in college campuses. So he's just going.
Talking about Mike or Charlie?
Charlie.
Oh, okay.
Charlie Kirk. That's what he does. That's his big thing.
Yeah.
He walks around and interviews people.
Yep.
And so he's trying to get a gauge of what's going on. He's predicting something similar to like a Bolshevik revolution. He believes that kids, the reason why they came out en masse to vote for Trump this time versus voting for Democrats, which is they have done in the past, is because they're concerned mainly I mean, they're concerned about several things, but mainly it's the financial piece of things that are going on in society. Part of that is the jobs. Part of that is, housing and affordability, access. Everything is basically built on financial things, and everything's getting more expensive. I mean, it's just really kind of making kids. He believes that we're pretty close to people rioting just based on the financial side of things, and kids not having the opportunities that they used to have. And so, anyway, that's interesting. But circling back around to what you were talking about, Travis, I don't know if there was a question in there anywhere. We definitely need more trades, especially with AI, and we're going to continue to need more electricians for sure. Power plant engineers,
HVACs.
Yeah, HVACs. I mean, we're going to need AI energy plants. We're going to need engineers to do that. I mean, robots won't be able to do that for a very long time. But this is again another one of the conversations that really is not being had in a town. Where in city of Evansville does a conversation happen like this, that we're sitting around talking about what are we going to need in 20 years? Like, what is this funnel of everybody's got to go to college actually doing?
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, Vincennes University has they will teach you how to repair robots. And almost all of those people who go through that teaching go to work at Toyota, because Toyota's got so damn many robots there, and they all break, and they need somebody who knows how to do that. Mm-hmm. And there's a company in this town. I drive by them fairly frequently, and it's just a small building with a few flags in front of it, but they're one of the largest manufacturers of robotic things in the world.
Wow.
And they have them in like eight different countries. They have them in China. They have them in Poland. They've got Austria, all of those places, Mexico. And what they do is they make robots that can do one thing, and that's like take this part and put it in the car and move it on down the line. And they can do that 24/7, but they do break down. Mm-hmm. So you got to have people who know how to repair them. You can't just take, some guy that is a shade
tree mechanic
that will sit out and do that for you, because he has no idea what that robot needs done. But the people who graduate from this, they usually make 80 or 90,000 when they get out, and they're only working on the robots at Toyota and all the other places. I mean, Toyota's got how many places in Indiana that they build stuff? 3, I think.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and there are more cars made in the United States that are thought to be cars that are foreign cars, but they're all built in the United States. I bet you that your BMW was built in South Carolina.
I don't know, possibly.
Yeah, because BMW stands for Bubba Makes Wheels.
Is that what that stands for?
Yeah.
I thought it was Bavarian Motor Works, but that's me.
It's Bubba Makes Wheels. There is a humongous BMW factory in South Carolina, because I've seen them come down at Charleston and get put on boats to head to Europe. But these are BMWs that were built in the United States, and they're going over to Germany to get sold.
I put in my year, make, and model, and it says that is most likely to be made at the BMW plant in Spartanburg, South Carolina. You're right. It probably was.
Hey, I ain't no dumbass.
Let's see. This plant is an exclusive production site for the X3, which is what I have. It also takes care of the X5, X6, and X7, which I would love to upgrade to an X7, but I don't have fixing robots kind of money.
So, Travis, did you have something else basically you wanted to say along the lines of
The other thing I was going to go over was just the displacement of jobs due to AI, kind of what that was, the impact that AI is going to have, like where it's even more, where now is a good time to be looking at trades even more so because of the displacement that AI is going to create for certain white collar jobs. This says entry level white collar jobs that vary across sectors like technology, finance, law, and consulting could all be taken over by AI pretty easily, pretty quickly. It's those trades and some manufacturing. I think it's going to be more taking care of, like you said, the automation, Doc, or the robots more so than maybe doing the actual manufacturing. But
they
being
can
anything physical,
the robots too.
Anything that's a manual thing, I think, is a much better way to look for any kids right now that are in high school that are looking to what are they going to do after high school. I think
plumbing is have you ever had a plumber come out? It's a minimum of $200, and all
plumber HVAC.
He just cleans out a pipe for you.
Well, most plumbers that I've ever talked to are busier than they want to be.
Yeah.
And as someone that's worked in the marketing industry for about 20 years, none of them market very well, and they're all busy.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
everybody needs it.
Everybody needs one, and if you want to work,
plumbing,
you've got it.
HVAC, electricians, what else?
For now, auto repair. I don't think that's going to be something that we have to
probably
do.
Just construction in general. Just construction work. Like I said, anything that's a manual, swinging a hammer, turning a wrench.
Yeah.
Welding a pipe. So welders, some of that can be done by some autonomous type ways, but they're going to be in manufacturing plants more so than being able to go out and fix something that's already exists, like at your home or at a business or something.
Well, I know that. I know some guys that are in the welders union here, and they're already looking ahead 10, 15 years as to what the things are going to be then. And I think you need human beings to fix the robots.
Well, and that's what
robots can do the hard work.
One of the kind of the new roles or job creations that the AI and automation is going to do is, from what I was doing some reading on, it's going to create new roles that require you to be able to fix those things. AI developers, data analysts, specialists in AI related fields, as well as automation related fields. So I think you're going to have to take care of the things that are unfortunately taking the jobs. That'll be the new job. Will be being able to do that. So yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I don't really have a question to pose. I just think I just feel like the trade. So you kind of, I don't want to give away too much of the sauce here, but you kind of told us that you want us to come with something, and I feel like, and I'm not even the type of person that would be in a trade. I like using my head more than my hands, and a lot of people are like that, and that's totally fine. But for me, I just think that the trades, even when I was in school, I could see it kind of looked down upon. Like, no one actually said anything, but they're the AP kids are over here in their AP math class, but then you've got those trades kids over there.
Well, I'm kind of the thinking personally. This is one of those things that I believe all kids should be forced to do for a small window of time. Just a window of time.
Yeah, take a class.
Similar to working.
I had to take home ec. I had to take woodworking.
I took shop, woodworking.
Similar to working in a restaurant.
Things,
or similar to anything. So, like, why is it important to work in a restaurant? First of all, it's interesting to know how they run. Second of all, if you eat out a lot, and you want your kid to respect people that are in restaurants and have manners in restaurants, you want to see people and how they interact and what those people have to put up with.
Last night
they work for tips.
I brought that up. Last night my daughter wanted me to get something for her. I wasn't paying attention for her, and she went. at me. She started snapping at me. And I said, well, first off, I'm not your server. And then secondly, never do that to a server. And so I even had that little talk about
not only will you might get spit in your meal.
Oh, I can't. My wife. So if anything ever comes to me and it's wrong, I will never tell them that it's wrong unless it's like completely raw or something, but I will just eat whatever they give me. Mm-hmm. And I told my wife, if she wants to complain, I have to have my food first. Like I have to have my food in front of me, then she can complain all she wants. Because I watched the movie
fair.
Waiting. I know what Ryan Reynolds did to the,
Fair.
But anyway, fair. But yeah, no, sorry, I didn't mean to derail you there. Learn how the things work. Absolutely, but yeah.
Well, interestingly enough, so Tucker Carlson was talking to Charlie Kirk in the podcast. I'm about halfway through, and basically, Tucker grew up in a very affluent family. He didn't have to work manual labor, but his parents made him go work in construction for a couple years, like during college, or I think it was during college,
like summers or something.
So
in between,
just to go do it and to work with your hands and to understand and he said, he got to know people he would never get to know, got to meet people he would have never met, the level of people in blue collar. So I think it helps with his being more humble and with humility and being
I did that with the manufacturing.
Talk to people.
It's the same thing with me in medicine. I didn't start out as a medical student. I started out as a nurse assistant, and I was changing sheets and moving people around and wiping butts and all the things that the nurses didn't do. The nurses gave medications to the patients. I was the one that was responsible for keeping them clean, moving them around, all of those sorts of things. I did that for 4 years between my days in college, and I made decent money, but it wasn't the greatest money in the world, and I didn't like the smell, but I knew that at some point I would learn enough that I could advance to a medical student, and I did. I ended up, when they had a serious question that came up, they'd all say, ask Roy, because he knows a lot of stuff about that.
Well, I think what most people don't really think about either is our kids, especially compared to us, and us probably compared to you, are much more coddled, and basically everything handed to them. I mean, life is just easier than it was when you.
And it's more
were young.
immediate. Having the internet, having tablet technology,
everything now.
Yeah,
everything now. I want it now, and it's there. If you can
and
order.
It irritates us with my kid.
Yeah.
We're like, you're just going to have to learn to be bored.
Well, she never knew there was something before Amazon that you could order it and not be delivered to your door tomorrow.
Yeah.
Or you don't even have to go to the grocery store anymore. Someone will go do that for you and bring it to your doorstep. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I think there's a lot of stuff that gets missed in that transition that we don't even know how that's going to affect our kids. Their decisions.
I was pushed out the door, and the door was shut, and I wasn't allowed to go back in the house until it got dark. Just stuff like that.
Yeah.
Kids don't do that anymore.
Well, that's the whole.
Oh my God! You might get carried away or something. They didn't.
I mean, that's a possibility, but
well, you think about mental health. You think about illness. You think about all the stuff that's going on, and being outside. I was out just like you. I was outside all day, every day. Did I ever wear sunscreen? No, I did not.
No,
because sunscreen did not become a thing even until. What was it, like 80s or something? I remember being on spring break or something, and I saw Hawaiian Tropic like for the first time, and they had real hot girls, and they were, the Hawaiian Tropic smelled like coconut. Mm-hmm. I mean, it smelled really good, but I was repulsed by it in the even from the very beginning. I don't know what it is. It just always was something like, why would I want to put that on my skin? And I don't like putting lotion or anything on my skin.
No, I don't like. I just honestly, it's a tactile thing. I just don't like the slimy feel personally. Beyond that,
But anyway, so that we kind of did a full circle there. But so I want to circle back around to the thing that Dr. Roy asked me about Dr. Jack Cruz and Australia and sunscreen, and I asked Grok Heavy, and it spit out a big long thing that
bunch of words.
I'm not gonna. I mean, if you want to put my screen,
you're not going to do a verbatim like I just did on Micro's
website. Put my screen up. If somebody wants to see that, they can.
There you go.
And if you want to, if you send me a message, I can copy and paste this. Or if you want another question, what I'm going to do is experiment something. Me and Travis didn't try this, and I don't even know if it's going to work from a sound perspective. But I actually have a Grok app, and heavy is on it. And I did this on desktop. I did this longer one. I put it in here and I said, give me a short recap. And what I'm going to do now is ask it a question. Hey, Grok.
Hey there. What's up?
The question that I just put in before this came from Dr. Roy, and I'm in a podcast with him right now. Can you please summarize and tell me, answer the question that we gave to you from Dr. Jack Cruz?
Sure, I can help with that. Based on the info you provided from Dr. Jack Cruz about sun exposure and skin cancer, here's a quick recap for you and Dr. Roy to share on your podcast. Short and sweet for your listeners. Dr. Cruz says natural sunlight is a health booster, not a cancer causer. He argues it supports mitochondria, vitamin D, and hormones, and the idea that sun causes skin cancer comes from flawed studies using artificial UV light. He suggests building a solar callus with morning sun exposure to protect skin naturally, while criticizing sunscreen and skunklas for blocking beneficial light, which could mess with your body's rhythms and increase risks. On melanoma, he claims it's more about too little sun, indoor lifestyles, and artificial light like from screens, not too much sun. For Australia's high skin cancer rates, he blames modern habits, avoiding morning sun, heavy sunscreen use, and indoor living, which he says lead to deficiencies and higher risks, not the sun itself. His take's controversial, so check with a doctor before making changes. If you or Dr. Roy want me to dive deeper into any part, just say the word.
Hang on a second. I'm going to ask Dr. Roy. Hang on.
That's a wonderful Midwestern accent she's got there.
Hey, Dr. Roy said you have a wonderful Midwestern accent.
Oh, well, thank you. I'm flattered Dr. Roy noticed.
Welcome to
Just
AI.
keeping it real with my friendly Midwestern vibe. Anything else you two want to dive into for the podcast?
Got any more questions, Dr.
No,
Roy?
I don't.
No, that's pretty good. We may use you in future episodes. I appreciate it.
No problem. Happy to help out whenever you need me for future episodes. Just give me a shout and I'll be here with my Midwestern charm.
And you're funny. That's good.
Yeah.
That was good that it brought that back around. And welcome.
Yeah.
This
I
is
think so. I aim to keep things light and helpful. If you and Dr. Roy need more wit or wisdom for the podcast, I'm just a call away.
Thanks. Please quit listening now.
Yeah.
Okay.
The thing I noted was that I've been using Grok 3, and I asked him a question, several questions yesterday,
I'm all ears.
and one of the things he came back was, based on your being raised in the southern part of the United States, it blah, 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 whatever. And I said, how in God's name does that thing know that I was raised in the southwestern or southeastern U.S.? How did it know?
Did you give it a name? You might have been able to find, did you
I didn't give it the name. I just pop it in there. I mean,
Well, but I mean, like when you log in, did it ask you for your full name and date of birth, or
no.
Because when
This is-
I created
this is
I created an
Grok 3.
account with Grok with the XAI or whatever it was called. I created a free account just to see if I could get an API. We talked about that a little bit, and it started asking me some questions. I'm like, do I really want to? So it said, full name, date of birth. I'm like, man, this thing's going to like start aggregating an entire
It's profiling.
it's
It's
a
profiling.
data set on
Now,
me.
the only way that Grok could have found that is to go to my Facebook post, and it says that I went to Auburn University.
Do you mean Twitter?
No, not Twitter.
Twitter. You don't have anything on your Twitter about your credentials?
I do, yeah.
Well, see,
Well, Grok is connected.
is Twitter.
Is Twitter.
Yeah, but this one was, it says in Facebook that I graduated from.
You're kicking the thing again down there.
No, I'm not touching
I
nothing.
don't know what that
Yeah.
residual dinging's coming from. Do you hear that, Travis? All right.
I
go ahead.
did.
Anyway, it just said that I graduated from Auburn University, and I graduated from the University of Alabama in Birmingham Medical School.
Well, it's got your name.
Yeah.
So it can track. It can maybe find your name and
who knows this. And this is where we're going. This is the whole thing. We talked about a defensive AI to go. I don't know. This is where we're going.
So if you don't give me a Bitcoin, I'm going to show pictures of you masturbating. That's what it's coming.
That really went fucking dark quick.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, so the
I don't think the AI is going to hold you.
A bad person with AI can get a picture of you or a bunch of pictures of you, create a replica of you, get your voice from video, get your voice from whatever. And it can't do that now really well, but it will be able to in the not too distant future.
Yeah. Sure. ChatGPT has it's called Sora or something.
Oh, that's bad, GPT.
And it's all about creating visual. Like you give it prompts and it creates its whole protocol is to create the visual for it. So you could probably you could just superimpose, like it would just not be. Eventually, it will just look real.
I told you guys 2 weeks ago about GPT making a serious episode that it did not even add one of the things that I was looking for. But I didn't use GPT, the patient actually did. And it didn't talk any at all about a serious part of it, which is actually the one that we're treating it for right now. So,
well, it's not perfect yet. Grok isn't perfect either.
No, it's not. But again, I'll just say,
but we're getting there.
I notice a big difference between even Grok 4, which is, so to have Grok 4, you need Twitter, the premium version of Twitter, which is $20 a month.
Mm-hmm. I already have that.
Okay, so you have Grok 4. If you don't see it, there's a drop down. So you should be able to get the latest Grok 4. What I have is Grok.
I'm not gonna pay $40 a month for that.
No, it's 20.
No,
20.
You said you already have premium.
You said you already have premium, which is $20 a month.
Yeah,
right.
this comes with that
get
subscription.
Grok 4.
Yeah.
What I have is Grok 4 Heavy. That's an additional. That's the next tier up. So what you have is, like, pretty soon, I believe Grok 4 Heavy will become Grok.
I think every iteration it will rotate.
Yeah.
So once we get Grok 5 Heavy, then Grok 4 Heavy will be.
You'll probably get Grok 4 Heavy for your regular subscription. Right. I imagine.
I don't think I put much in my my Twitter thing other than my military service.
Again, I think it's able to find you pretty quick. Since we're already in, I don't know if this particular clip's going to lead into what we've been talking about with AI, but this Diary of a CIO podcast is actually really good, and let's see what this guy has to say about it. I don't have sound again for some reason.
It's up.
Gonna unplug and try again. If it doesn't work, then we'll just.
I'm up over here, so it's not me.
Okay. Well, let's see. Did you had another topic that you wanted to get into, I believe, as an option.
Well, it was an option. I don't have near the information about it, but it was kind of how recently they talked about the whole Russian collusion scandal.
Russia.
Exactly, and how it wasn't really. Well, how it's come out that it wasn't a real. Well, that it was all manufactured to try to control the narrative of the election and everything. And they talk. I mean, so ultimately, what it is, it says on Friday, Tulsi Gabbard revealed that there's overwhelming evidence that demonstrates how after Trump won the 2016 election against Clinton, President Obama and his national security cabinet members manufactured and politicized intelligence to lay the groundwork for what was essentially a year-long coup against Trump. So they've been talking about this for a while, this past, I guess week. I have some information here about that, different dates, what's happened, going over like James Clapper, John Brennan, Susan Rice, John Kerry, Loretta Lynch, all these people.
So based on what I've read fairly deeply into it, and I actually had some clips if we get to the
what's it called, the Steele
dossier.
Steele dossier.
So that was a fake document based on something that Obama pushed, and here's why it's relevant. Because I think Obama doesn't respond to anything. He doesn't really talk about anything when allegations are made. But this has escalated to the point, obviously, where he decided he was going to speak out. The response that I saw, and it might not have been the whole one, was Obama basically said Russia absolutely does try to influence our elections. They do try to hack into things. They have always done that. And I agree with him on that. And I think other countries do it to us. We do it to other countries. We have a whole branch of our government that tries to affect elections.
Yeah.
Where he stopped short, though, and where he was deceptive in his response that I saw, was it wasn't the fact that Russia was or was not trying to hack to manipulate our election. It was the fact that he said Trump was working. They were saying Trump was working with Russia, and that was the conspiracy. It wasn't. It wasn't that, well, Russia's doing this thing and it's Trump's fault. It's Trump is in the middle of it, so we are going to impeach him and we're going to put him on trial. So that whole narrative, the impeachment came via the Steele dossier and via, from what the emails are saying that Tulsi Gabbard basically said, is Obama asked for an investigation. The investigation came back and said, Russia's done some things, but there's nothing that rises to the level of them actually having any major impact.
Right.
And absolutely, Trump did not have anything to do. There's no proof of Trump having communications or telling Russia to do these things and manipulate elections. So he lied about that. And
then they leaked.
Then he hid the evidence of that and basically pushed the Steele dossier, which was a completely fake thing, went through the Pfizer court. And Pfizer started spying on Trump, and all of Trump's administration. I mean, that's when people were getting wiretapped and all that stuff. So they did two different things. They spied prior to the election and during the election, then after the election. They didn't stop. And so this is where the trouble comes. Obama's saying, no, this didn't happen, but he stopped short of saying that. That the emails basically are saying Obama knew that the Russia-Trump was a hoax, and yet they continued to push it, and they did so for 3 years.
And accidentally leaked it, quote unquote, with my fake.
Oh yeah.
To the different media outlets that will push anything that side says.
100%. So we might have to end early tonight if I don't have clips, unless we want to talk about stuff other. I don't know what happened to the sound. I've unplugged everything and I've tried to plug it back in, and I don't know exactly what happened here.
Well, let's try it again and see what happens.
Blue light in it, and
that one worked. Like, I don't know what happened. So I'll try to get back to this other one maybe.
But yeah, so
stick on the AI track.
So well, I guess we kind of beat that. They
pivoted.
We pivoted.
Let me see if I can keep going.
So, I have it down too. So I'm kind of watching you to see what you're doing.
Well, I'm looking for the clips that I have on this particular story, because I know I had a Tulsi clip where she basically said exactly what happened, what the evidence says.
Oh yeah. So I mean, let's see. The intelligence community consistently assessed that Russia is probably not trying to influence the election by using cyber means. Let's see. On December 7th, DNI James Clapper stated foreign adversaries did not use cyber attacks on election infrastructure to alter the U.S. presidential election outcome. On the 9th, Obama's White House gathered top National Security Council principals for a meeting that included, like I said, Clapper, Brennan, all those folks to discuss Russia. Like you said, I mean, as they went, there's just so many things that said that it wasn't a thing like they were making it out to be. And ultimately, the Obama officials leaked false statements to media outlets, including the Washington Post, claiming Russia has attempted through cyber means to interfere in, if not actively influence, the outcome of an election. And then it just kept on going.
Well, so,
like you said,
it's a completely fake story.
Yeah.
And here we're going to, again, I'll talk about NPR a little bit. I have very good friends at local NPR affiliates, WNIN. Love those people. What I will just say, though, is why this whole thing with defunding public media has transpired is because of stories just like this. They ran and ran and ran with the Trump-Russia narrative.
Russia.
Once it went away, or they found him not guilty, it just stopped. There's been no recanting of anything. And now that there's really something significant like this, where to me, this is probably one of the biggest stories of my lifetime.
That's what everybody was saying on X today.
Yeah, well beyond Watergate. I mean, Watergate. If you look at it now, it was like, it was nothing.
All they did was break into somebody.
I'm not going to share this entire clip, but what I will say is, and I don't like Fox News that much. I especially don't really like Sean Hannity, but this particular clip is 11 minutes long. We're not going to listen to the whole thing. And I did break it up into sections, and we're not going to go through the whole thing. I highly recommend get on to YouTube and go to Tulsi Gabbard's channel, or you can just do a search for Tulsi Gabbard exposes treasonous conspiracy of Obama White House. I'm going to start the clip.
So on his very first day in office, President Trump signed an executive order announcing that the federal government would, quote, take appropriate action to correct past misconduct related to the weaponization of law enforcement and the weaponization of our intel community. No person alive today knows what it's like to have the full force of the federal government turned against you better than Donald Trump. Well, he does not want any other Americans to have to go through what he went through, because President Trump, frankly, has been bent to hell and back. And it all started at the beginning of his first term with the totally phony Russia hoax. We spent 3 years unpeeling every layer of that onion on this program with John Solomon and Greg Jarrett and Sarah Carter and others. Today, we're learning another shocking detail about the early days of that sham investigation. We have a newly declassified report prepared for President Barack Obama back in December of 2016, right after Donald Trump won, specifically stating, quote, Russian criminal activity failed to reach the scale and sophistication necessary to change election outcomes. And they were talking about one place in Chicago. Now, the deep state did not like the assessment. That was put together by career people, rank and file people. But when the politicized people around Obama got it, guess what? It changed. They never let Obama see it. Then when he asked them to prove that Russia meddled in the election, they just simply complied, and they turned it on its head. And frankly, in many ways, you can say they polluted what was real intelligence, and they turned it into poison. And they did it to destroy one man. Is it any wonder that there are now reportedly criminal investigations, this conspiracy investigation by Kash Patel underway, and it specifically names Comey and Brennan. All right, here to give us all the details and bring us up to speed with reaction, the Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard. She declassified this report yesterday, has many more details. You know, I have this creation of the Russia hoax that you put out on X, that you posted on X, and I'll put it up as you're speaking here. What is amazing to me as I've gone through this cache of documents you've released is they concluded just the opposite. They concluded there was no problem. And then all of it, that was the rank and file. These were career people in the intel community. They gave honest assessments. Then all of a sudden it ends up in the hands of the leadership, the deep state as we call them, and what happened to it. Can you explain what the process and what these documents reveal?
Okay, prior to getting to that, I'm gonna let everyone hear her if you didn't, because again, if you're watching anything other than Fox News right now, you're probably not going to hear this unless you're on YouTube and following these things. And hearing from her to me is important. What I'll just say and why this is important to me again is we've been lied to repetitively, not just with Russian hoax, not with COVID, but every narrative to me that's coming down the pipeline is questionable. Like every time you hear this and you want to trust something that you hear on the news or a journalist, like what can you really trust? There's a problem. There's a problem with that.
Yeah.
I mean, how can we believe anything we're being told?
I don't.
That doesn't bode well for society. I mean, we have to be able to trust things.
That's right.
Travis, I don't know. You have any?
Trust no one.
Trust nothing.
No, I was actually trying to figure out what that sound was, and I think his phone was doing something vibrating against the table, making his mic go.
Oh, really? Was that what? Oh, okay.
Did you just miss a call or a text message or anything?
No.
I heard what you were talking about. It was
turned completely off.
Huh,
well, then it wasn't that.
Huh, weird.
It was his mic. Though.
It went away.
Then it went away. Yeah. Anyway, sorry.
Right, here we go.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sean. This is such an important issue, and I just want to start by saying that This is an issue that is important to every single one of us as Americans. This is not a partisan issue. It has to do with the integrity and the strength of our democratic republic. And it lays out this over 100 documents that you're referencing that I released, declassified and released, spells out in great detail exactly what happens when you have some of the most powerful people in our country directly leading at the helm, President Obama and his senior-most national security cabinet, James Comey, John Brennan, James Clapper, and Susan Rice, and others, essentially making a very intentional decision to create this manufactured, politicized piece of intelligence with the objective of subverting the will of the American people, who in November of 2016 delivered a historic victory to President Trump, defeating Hillary Clinton. And President Obama and his team, their goal was to essentially not accept the decision of the American people and to use this manufactured, politicized intelligence as a means to enact what would become essentially a years-long coup against President Trump. You have gone into great detail over these years of what the effects of this document and this decision have resulted in. Obviously, a years-long Mueller investigation that cost taxpayers almost $40 million, 2 congressional impeachments, endless smears and attacks against not only President Trump, but his family. He had senior members of his team who were investigated, some arrested and jailed. We had heightened and increased tensions between the United States and Russia. The list goes on and on about the consequences of President Obama and his senior cabinet members politicizing intelligence once again, and I say these words very clearly, to enact what was essentially a years-long coup, subverting the will of the American people in that election in November. Now, you referenced this President's Daily Brief document that was drafted for President Obama in early December that reaffirmed what the intelligence community professionals, as you say, had been assessing for the previous 6 months leading up to the election, which was that Russia neither had the intent nor capability to essentially hack the outcome of the U.S. election. As you said, President Obama's political appointees pulled that document before it could be published, and it has not been published until we released it today. And the very next day after they pulled that document, President Obama called a National Security Council cabinet meeting to discuss how Russia interfered with the election. Again, this is the first week of December. This is December 9th,
President
Trump had already won. Correct.
You turned my volume down a little bit too, just to see.
I did.
Yeah, just to see. I don't know what
it's both. I don't know what it is.
It doesn't matter. People don't care.
Yep. Let's keep going.
Yeah, we got a little bit of voice issue. I'm not going to play any more of this clip. What I wanted to do is, again, that was about halfway through. It's an outstanding conversation. She lays it all out very cleanly. I would love people to fact check it and come back and say what's wrong with what she's saying. But again, it draws a very nasty tale. And here, because we were lied to, we built this false narrative, and lo and behold, we end up right in the middle of a Russian-Ukraine escalation and war that all ties back to kind of around that same window. And to me, it built a narrative that Russia bad, Russia bad, Russia bad. And I'm not saying they're good. I'm not defending Putin.
Yeah.
Once again, not doing that. But to me, this is just part of the seeds that were sold to sell future war in this particular case. Like, Russia became a bad guy to everyone because they were working with Trump, and Trump bad, so we have to punish Russia. That's what it kind of feels like to me, that same pattern. Either one of you had anything deep in that. Travis was trying to figure out what the problem is with the sound. Apologize if the humming was bothering anyone there. Nobody's got anything else on that, I guess.
No, not really.
No, I'm just appalled that people would do something like that.
It doesn't surprise me.
It doesn't surprise me at all, and I sort of believed all the way along that that's what was going on at the highest levels. And I think people are going to have to go to prison for this.
Sort of on the flip side a little bit. Have you seen that the Fauci auto pen things? They are going to try to bring up charges to see if they'll stick. They've got. I can't remember who was talking. I was watching another podcast and. They said that somebody asked somebody else, do you think this is going to stay? It was Charlie Kirk, I think. I can't remember who he was talking to, and he said, is this going to work, or can we actually, send him to prison or get him? And the other gentleman that he had on there, and forgive me, I can go try to find his name, but he said all that we can do is try. So what we'll do is we'll have to arrest him, and then he'll go to court, and then we'll see if the pardon holds up or not, and then that'll be part of the court proceedings. Will be the whole auto pin versus did Biden even know it was happening? All these kind of things. So that was something I was watching. That was just earlier, past couple of days.
Yeah, if it was auto pin and he didn't sign it, then to me none of those things
means nothing.
They mean nothing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I don't want to play that one.
Well, you know what would happen if we were not a good state like that? If this had happened in Russia or in China or something like that, he'd already be dead.
Oh yeah, 100%. I would agree with that. Yeah, regime change would have happened. Well, I mean that's what they were trying to do, is out of the same playbook.
Yeah.
So let's. We're not quite a couple hours in, are we?
We're about hour 40.
Okay. Got a little bit of. Did we talk about Iran at all? I think we did a little bit, didn't we?
Not very much.
Okay.
We talked about the raid.
Okay.
And that was it.
Well, I don't want to get too deep into the serious stuff about. I got some humor. If you think you could have humor on Iran, I didn't think that I could, but I actually found it.
I ran so far away. That's all I
ran so far away. This comes from Bill Maher, which again I don't always like him, but he sometimes he comes up with some good stuff. I found this one funny, and then I got another one we're going to listen to. This is 1:37.
Think of Whoopi Goldberg saying it's worse to be a black person in America today than a woman in Iran. I see we were talking about the trans issue before, and the New York Times really has come over on that to the sort of the sensible, liberal, not crazy woke position. I think this is a great first step toward getting the Democrats back to sanity, and a second good step would be we got to do something about The View. I really believe that. I mean, could you just
it's huge in Iran, though.
Wow. When I mentioned The View in Iran, all with the same head cover, you can't even tell which one is which.
My district in the great state of Texas is actually a white majority district that President Trump would have won by 25 points. As I said, I'm a direct descendant of a slave. My great-great-grandfather was born on a Rosedale plantation. I am literally being judged not by the color of my skin, but by the content of my character. That's the progress, because, like, a lot of white people had to vote for me. A lot.
So wait,
I don't even ever want to hear Whoopi Goldberg's conversation about how it's worse to be black in America right now. That's a bit far. And my father, who's 75 years old, he was a man that was in the French quarters that had to go get a sandwich to the back door of the building. And his son is now a United States congressman in a white majority district in Texas as a Republican. That is America. That's America.
Yeehaw.
Yeah.
So there was a little bit of a funny part in there. That's not super funny. I got one here I think is much more humorous, and it's ironically a vaccine humor. Which
that sounds kind of oxymoron.
Maybe I don't know if this is going to work. The clip looked weird. We'll see here. Oh yeah, here we go.
I'm telling you, just wait.
Vaccine passport? Yeah, but I need proof of at least 10 booster shots. Okay, AIDS vaccine passport. I'm going to need an allergy test. Lyme disease. Chickenpox. H1N1. Rabies tag. Now I just got to check your white guilt score. 9.7. Wow, not bad, man. Just got to scan you for male toxicity. Would you have sex with a trans woman?
Yes.
Can men have babies?
Yes.
Do all lives matter?
Yeah, no.
I need proof of a black friend. Okay, how many pronouns are there?
92,627.
All right, put your mask on and show them your receipt.
I actually lost the receipt.
How are we supposed to give you your laundry if you don't have the receipt?
I think this is exactly how crazy and deranged that the left has become. I wouldn't be surprised if they were in control that they would mandate a lot of these different things. In some form or fashion, they already do. To do basic things, like pick up your laundry. This is the funnest comedian in the world, I'm telling you. Just wait.
Oh, that's the going back to the front.
That's it. Yeah. So it was just a little kind of poke fun at people, you know. I did have some stuff. We haven't talked about Epstein much, and I did have some personal theories on what's going on, because that was one of the, to me, I would say Bondi and Trump's biggest faux pas so far in there.
Maybe.
I know you follow most these types of things, Doc Roy. What is your gut telling you about this particular one?
I really can't figure out. She said for weeks, it's sitting on my desk. I'm going to go through it. Everything's going to be fine. We're going to turn it loose. And now there was nothing wrong with him. We've got people who've testified that they were taken as children, not children, but teenagers, to his island and forced to have sex with well-known people, like Prince Andrew, for one.
I have a friend on Facebook. I posted something about it. I think it was yesterday or the day before yesterday. She said she spent a lot of time. I think she said St. Thomas, but the locals there were very privy to the story. Like I don't know how far Epstein's Island was from that area, but apparently all the locals knew that Clinton was down there all the time.
Yeah,
and they were making huge fun of it. She said this on my post. It's somebody that I know, so it's kind of interesting. There's several different things that I have on the Epstein story that I'm kind of digesting. Aren't
they reaching out to Maxine? Like, is there something?
Yeah, they are. She said she wants to testify before Congress.
Okay, yeah. So I thought
Ghislaine.
Ghislaine.
Not Maxine.
Whatever.
Ghislaine.
Which her whole story is really interesting tie and loop back. So I think this is a much darker, deeper story. I don't believe there's nothing to it. So that's what they kind of try to say. You know, that's where Trump kind of stepped in. I think he's like, there's nothing to it. Why are we still talking about this guy? You know, he's a dirtbag. That's it. No,
he's dead.
No, that's not enough.
Where's the minute missing in the video?
Yeah.
In the Epstein style video.
So, let me see if one of these. Hang on a second here. We'll see where we're at on this clip. I don't want to play it all, but I'm going to play some of this one. So Tucker and Sean Ryan, who is also a big podcaster, had a conversation about it, and I thought they had some pretty interesting insights. So
why do you think the media is so hesitant to cover this shit?
Sarah Kellen. And this woman has led a lot of lambs to the slaughter. Maxwell only getting 20, considering that she's been probably trafficking for 25 years.
They don't want any justice for these victims.
No. Jeffrey Epstein trafficked underage girls for 25 years.
I have a question. Who the hell is Sarah Kellen?
Sarah Kellen was one of Epstein's procurers, a.k.a. pimps. And actually, the New York Times did an article on 6 Epstein procurers, a.k.a. pimps. And Maxwell was the leading one, but right below her was Epstein's number 2 lieutenant, Sarah Kellen. And this woman has led a lot of lambs to the slaughter. She should be serving multiple lifetimes for child trafficking. Child trafficking is 15 to life. And Maxwell only getting 20, considering that she's been probably trafficking for 25 years, is a joke. But with Kellen, she should also be in prison with Maxwell. And again, as we've talked about it last time, we'll talk about it this time, the government has been completely unwilling to prosecute the procurers and the perpetrators in the Jeffrey Epstein network.
So I highly recommend watch that particular podcast. If you want the clip, it'll be in the show notes. But again, with the media part of it, there doesn't seem to be any curiosity.
No.
Like, why would there not be people going after the other 5 people other than Ghislaine?
Right.
Why wouldn't we have many conversations with those people? There has to be some back deals. There has to be some protection.
There's pictures. There's got to be pictures, and pictures of people doing sexual acts. There were all kinds. He filmed everything, and none of that has ever been shown. I mean, apparently all those people who went down there were doing bad things. They were having sex with young women and young boys. And
I don't think all of them were, because I think Stephen Hawking was one of them, and I don't think he could have done that.
He didn't do anything. They were apparently, just playing with him.
Well, I kind of think it's a honeypot, and what that means is different people would go down there for different reasons, and not everybody necessarily that would be on the list would be engaging in sexual behavior with minors. But what I think is it was designed to do that, to trap people. So if they got something on you somewhere in any of these taped rooms, they had a gotcha. So they could come back and get you. And so I'm not saying
not money.
No,
is to do things.
Favors.
Leverage. It's leverage. Yeah. 100%.
Yeah.
So anyway, there's more to the story. To me, this is another interesting clip. I know I used to talk about a group called Anonymous a lot. They did a lot during COVID and whatever. This was a really interesting clip I felt was worth listening to.
The day after the real proof drops. Not rumors or flight logs, but undeniable footage of world leaders doing hideous, unmentionable things to children. The world reacts with horror. Governments crumble. Markets collapse. Chaos spreads. Why? Because when power is suddenly removed without a plan, a vacuum forms, and nature abhors a vacuum. Now imagine you hold that proof, evidence implicating presidents, billionaires, architects of global control. You could release it, or you could use it to force them to surrender, dismantle their networks, and retreat without war. That's not corruption, that's leverage. And leverage is how you remove power without triggering collapse. To the doubters who say Trump is on the list, ask yourself, if that were true, why did they deploy everything to stop him? Lawfare, fake investigations, a CIA-signed Russia hoax, even attempts on his life. If they had the leverage on Trump, they would have used it already. But they haven't, because they don't. I wish Trump didn't have to lie. I wish there were another way. Maybe this bizarre, out of sync with MAGA behavior is the wink and the nod. Maybe acting out of character is the message. This isn't about feelings. It's not about outrage or hashtags. It's about power and how it's strategically neutralized. You don't take down the Illuminati or New World Order with a lawsuit. You do it with leverage. Silent, invisible, world-shaping leverage. My friends, we are all anonymous. And welcome to the real world.
Dr. Mark's here.
Wait, it's still going.
Oh.
Podcast, I talked about pedophilia and explained how there are networks. This is coming from someone who, one, hunts pedophiles and protects children through our task force. This is the reality that I want people to understand. And the reason why the Epstein list will not come out, like I've said from the beginning, is because it is an intelligence operation. The best form of currency right now for control and power in our world is videos or pictures of children being abused by certain adults. When you have those as leverage, you can control a person to make decisions that will shape nations and truly make the difference in both political, legal, business, and world economics. The moment you prosecute a pedophile that would be on that list, you lose the leverage on them, and you also risk them telling the rest of the story.
So I found that interesting because it tells a different tale, and it's like think about it at a much deeper and higher level.
That's what I think's going on.
Yeah, well,
that they now have the leverage for a lot of people And I think we're going to see, we've already seen a number of congressmen either say they're not going to run again or they're quitting right now. And for families, yeah, all right, they've got leverage on them. And I think that's why they haven't let it go, is that they've got leverage on a bunch of people and they can make them do just about anything.
Do they have a little bit of leverage, or do they have like Coldplay Jumbotron?
Yeah, I think they've got Coldplay Jumbotron.
Has that been filling up all your feeds?
For a while. Not now, but a couple days ago. Well, back like Thursday, Friday, whenever. Yeah. All over the place. Then everybody started making mock.
Didn't they burn down one of those places over there that was having a big music show or something? Yeah, they burned it down.
Do you know what I'm talking about when I say Coldplay Jumbotron?
Yeah.
Like, have you seen the meme, the videos of the CEO and the? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know if you were going.
Did they do anything on it, like anything at the Savannah Bananas? Game that you went to?
Yeah. So the Savannah Bananas have
they sold out Busch Stadium, right?
It's two nights in a row.
And you were
so
there.
44,000 each night.
Were you there first night or second?
First night, Wayno pitched. Do you see that?
Yeah.
Wainwright pitched in the first night. Anyway, yeah. So the Savannah Bananas have a banana as a mascot, but they also have like a secondary mascot. It's a princess, and it's Princess Potassia, like potassium bananas.
Yeah.
Anyway, the opposing team are the party animals, and their mascot's like a monkey. And so at some point in the middle of that, the monkey was behind her, and they were like, and they showed him on the jumbotron, and they went diving just like on the video. It was hilarious. But I guess the Phillies did it. Like, so many people.
The Phillies did it with a male and female.
Whatever that thing's called.
What is a Philly?
Whatever.
It doesn't look like a horse.
Yeah, I don't know what that is, but yeah. So it's been all over the place, and apparently he was put on leave for a little while. Now I think somewhere I saw that he might have stepped down, like he may no longer work for.
Well, I think the board was trying to get him to step down for sure.
I can't think of the name of that company now. Astrology or something, or astronomical.
Astronomy.
Astronomy. There we go. Yep. I don't even know about the HR lady. I think his wife's gonna.
Yeah.
May she get large alimony.
She is going to get a big bunch of money.
Yeah, she's good. She's good for a while.
So let's end tonight with a conspiracy theory. But it's in the Epstein realm.
I'm 39-0 now.
It's in the Epstein realm, and it just so happens to.
At what point do they stop becoming theories and they are?
They're theories. They're not conspiracy.
All of mine have come true.
That's not what I thought it was. Sorry, my I've hit a thud here a couple times in my clip sharing today. I apologize. I thought I had one that was a Facebook reel that was cleaner. I have the whole podcast. Hang on a second here. Anyway, so we talk about Brett Weinstein. I always hack his name a lot. He has a brother, Eric, who is a high-level astrophysicist, one of the top, most sought-after physicists on the planet, and he has his own. I don't really want to call it a theory, but he said in this podcast, and again, if I find it, I'll pull it up real quick here. But so it's a vigilant Fox focused on the Eric Weinstein, and maybe I'll just get into this in full next week. But his theory was Jeffrey Epstein was very focused and interested in what Eric Weinstein was focusing on, which was gravity and the Harvard math department. So Weinstein was in the Harvard math department working on advanced physics and gravity. And his theory is Epstein could have been a construct to evade physics. So
we had Hawking's at the island too. There's another person that would have been.
You know, if you've got an advanced theory in physics that maybe changes energy, or changes propulsion, or changes any number of these different things, and you have a construct which is he's a known CIA person. Yeah, Epstein. There's people that believe he was also in the Mossad. I mean, he might have been dancing on both sides, but let's get in. We'll do it next podcast, and I'll kind of lay it out a little bit better. But if you want to find it's a Vigilant Fox. It's a whole story on Jeffrey Epstein and Eric Weinstein, and it's a fantastic theory to me, only because why was Jeffrey Epstein trying to get in the middle of the Harvard math department and advanced physics? So, not only was he working with selling sexual favors and trying to trap people, but he was doing something else as well. So we'll table it for this week and come back to that. I'm going to lay it out really clean and get into it. But I think 7:30.
I'd like to see dirty, not clean.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, what's that mean?
I mean, show me the stuff.
Well, I can start this first clip and see if it maybe, will be a little bit of a teaser. Let's just try it. Heck, what are we here for? Except for the volume's not working.
I'm up. It's up. Should be working.
But I would certainly bet money. Jeffrey Epstein conducted a conference called Confronting Gravity. I don't know who Jeffrey Epstein was, but I would certainly bet money that he was a product of at least one or more elements of the intelligence community.
The CIA, the FBI.
Those are ours, right?
Mossad,
Department of Homeland Security has some of this stuff. Geospatial intelligence has some of this. It's a large network. I'm talking about people like David Grush. I'm talking about people potentially like David Fravor. I'm talking about people like Jake Barber.
These are UFO, UAP
I'm
people
talking
in the
about
military.
scientists like Leo Szilard. Imagine if Leo Szilard didn't know that the Manhattan Project was going on, or Jack Raper, a journalist who broke a story. These people all think that they're doing their jobs. I desperately want to know why Jeffrey Epstein knew so much about my work. And I want to know why he was connected to my graduate program. I was in the Harvard mathematics department. Jeffrey Epstein was absolutely connected to the Harvard math department. I want to know why.
How was he connected to the math department?
You're pushing me to say things I'm not going to say. But I don't mind.
I'm curious. I'm not trying to push you.
I understand,
Yeah.
but I'm just not going to do it. I'm saying that anybody who wants to...
You said he was connected to the math department.
To the Harvard mathematics department.
How did you know he was connected?
You can Google it. You could Google it right now. This is not... I can point at all sorts of stuff that's hidden in plain sight.
So I'll take your word for it. And the assertion that I'm picking up on is that Jeffrey Epstein was planted in your world to keep...
I'm not saying he's planted. I don't...
And if you're only listening, they're doing a live feed. It looks... Are they using Grok? Or that was Google. And they did Jeffrey Epstein, the Harvard math department, and it just came up with, including, let's see, breakdown key. So he gave millions and millions and millions of dollars over many years to the Harvard math department.
I don't know who he was. I don't know who ran him. He certainly was not a financier.
I like that format, by the way. That was kind of cool.
Really?
That was a cover story, yes.
The way that we know Jeffrey Epstein, in the UK especially, is just this guy who was this rich guy who had this island, who brought people there and then did these despicable things.
Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah, that's the story.
Disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. It's called perseveration. He was a disgraced financier. What kind of a financier? A disgraced one. What was his name? Oh, he was disgraced financier Jeffrey Epstein. They perseverate that into your mind so that you auto-complete that in your LLM life. Do you believe that that's what Jeffrey Epstein was?
You met him.
Yeah. I
Was
can
he a
tell that
disgraced financier?
He wasn't a financier the day I met him.
What was he?
He was a weird guy who didn't seem to know a lot about currency trading. Claiming to run a multi-billion-dollar FX hedge fund.
When you say a weird guy, what made him weird?
Same stuff I've said on Chris Williams. I'm not going to go back through that. Just my point is you're getting a different interview, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what I'm trying to get at is Jeffrey Epstein knew a tremendous amount about my work when nobody knew anything about my work. And he had a pipeline into me that I didn't understand, which is that he was connected to my graduate program. And you can check out the conference called Exploring Gravity.
And hosted physical workshop called Confronting Gravity.
Confronting Gravity, that's right.
In March 2006.
Yeah, what is Jeffrey Epstein? Jeffrey Epstein is very focused on gravity.
Was it a gravity conference?
Yeah.
It was about gravity.
Yeah.
What the fuck was he doing talking about bloody gravity if he's a financier?
It was very important to get Nobel laureates and some of the smartest people on Earth to come to the Virgin Islands and talk about gravity. Stephen Hawking was there, David Gross was there, Lawrence Krauss was there, Lisa Randall was there, right before his conviction. And I'm telling you, he was very focused on the Harvard math department, and he knew all about me in ways that he wasn't supposed to.
We can leave it there. There's another 3 minutes, but
yeah,
it's a very interesting. You think about was he there just because he was a pervert, or he was trying to make money off of pedophilia and selling that, or how deep does it actually go, and what is the actual thing that they're trying to accomplish?
Right.
We always talk about energy tyranny. We talk about what is the most important thing that we all have on the planet. Energy should be at the top.
Yeah.
If it's not, it's because you're not thinking about it. Water is number one. Food's number two. Energy is probably easily in the top 5.
Yeah, I need a break, guys.
Oh yeah, we're gonna go. We'll get out of here now.
Okay.
So we'll dig into this next time we sit. Yeah. And I appreciate you guys as always. Hopefully,
all right. Have a good night, everybody.
Dr. Roy's out.
Bye bye.
Love you guys.
See ya.